Our app is kind of built for this. So now, well, I mean, we're really starting to pick up some steam here. And we really still haven't done anything. We're trying to figure out, our internal stuff. But I mean, we did about $10,000 in loans last week. We did about $10,000 in loans yesterday. So we're picking up steam.
Well, that's awesome, man. And speaking of, so for my podcast, we are gathering.
Can you guys turn your cameras on?
Yep. Yep. I'm there.
We got people in here now.
Oh. Yeah, we were gathering.
It says I can't.
Yeah, it says that we can't.
Uh-oh.
I see you got your little hair glowing today, though. You get your little kit. You got your kit.
No, I didn't get a kit. I just washed my hair.
I was like, hello, beautiful, hooking you up, huh?
No, I had to. Let me turn y'all. I'm gonna just turn you guys into a host and see if that helps.
I believe so.
Turn your camera on, because I don't know that we didn't have that problem last time. So let me see.
There we go.
Uh-oh. Now, Jeff, it ain't letting me do it for you. Oh, here we go. Can you turn it on now? Hey! What's going on? Welcome to 2020.
All the smiling faces.
I feel like I haven't seen anybody outside of the internet.
Maybe we all need to do like a group e-hug.
I know. Do we need to call everyone a group hug? Even all the attendees, just reach your arms out and just give each other a hug because we can't touch each other. Let's drop some positivity bombs.
Yes.
We need some of ours like Tori has for quarantine.
Right. Right.
How was the I didn't end up going, or the Madam C.J. Walker, man. I watched the movie. That movie is great. I think every entrepreneur should watch it.
It was really good. We've been doing this thing called, what do we call it again? I can't even think about what we call this stuff.
Netflix party. Now Netflix.
Yeah, so every Friday since we started with the Madam C.J. Walker series, we've been watching videos on Netflix Party, like as a group. And we usually have a pretty good turnout, and we just talk shit about movies that are on Netflix.
Just enjoy, just a way to build digital community.
Exactly. Well, we have some folks in here. For some reason, I don't know, I'm having like all kind of technical difficulties today. I can't go live. Jeff, can you try to go live on Facebook? Can you try to go live on the Be Nimble or the Party Girl page? Because for some reason it's not letting me. You click the hamburger at the bottom that says more and see if it lets you stream.
The workplace?
No, if you're in the Zoom, if you at the bottom where it says more, you should be able to. There should be like a stream to Facebook, stream to YouTube. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, can you do it? It's not letting me do it. So
cool. I'm logging right on in.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody. We're preparing to go live right now. So while Jeff is doing that, it looks like we have a few people in here. So I would love to see a little bit of a roll call. Rep, where you're from? Are you in Indy? Are you outside of Indy? How y'all holding up during the quarantine? Anybody? You can use the chat feature at the bottom.
Here goes Josh.
Hey, Josh.
From Denver.
What's going on, Josh? Welcome. Positivity Bomb Part 2. I like seeing the Positivity Bomb folk in here.
Let's see.
Let's see, who else we got in here?
My page versus my own.
Josh, hey Troy and Indy, hey Faye and Anderson. Who else? Virginia from Tildy. Hey, Virginia! I talked to Virginia a couple weeks ago when I was doing office hours for Generator. She's dope. We had a good conversation. Thank you for showing up. Hey, Mia. Hey, girl.
What are you doing with Generator, Kelly?
They reached out to me to help them with their office hours. You know, when they did that, I think it was like maybe week 2 of this, they did a bunch of small business, like a little mini accelerator where they were telling people about SBA stuff and, you know, what their options are during COVID. So I sat through like all of their programming, and then they did a day where I had like a 4-hour block of office hours where I just talked to entrepreneurs about what their options were. And also told them about other options they can consider too. So Virginia, I hope you applied for some of that stuff. We've been updating it pretty regularly. There's a lot of really good stuff on there. Dope. Jeff, are we live?
We fist to be. Let's see. Look, we over here learning how to use this technology.
I don't know why it won't let me do it. You know, I'm Mrs. Technology from time to time.
Oh, good.
I only know how to do the Halo app. I don't even know how to do that.
Right. He's asking for all this extra stuff.
Well, see, I got a black long sleeve underneath my shirt. Now Josh, we have to do long sleeve tees now.
I need a Positivity Bomb shirt. I don't think I have one of those.
Positivity.
I need one of those for my my collection. I think today I'm wearing a Tech Point shirt. Random.
Get you. No worries. And if you need
a lot of stuff.
If you need a early entry for a judge for a pitch party next year,
done.
I'll throw my name in the hat.
Done. It's finished. It's complete.
Anything you all need. It doesn't have to be that. If you need community service, if you need somebody to hold a table, fold a table.
You know what? I love that kind of love, Taylor. That's why we love you. Well, while Jeff is getting everything set up, I do want to take just a few minutes to kind of talk about what this all is. We actually took last week off. We were actually supposed to talk to Taylor last week. But, you know, I think we all needed a little break. And I know I did. So I took a break. I self-cared. So we're back. We're energized. You know, we're back in the saddle. And, you know, not so far after I get back in the saddle do we see all of this really terrible information come to light about what's really happening. And so part of why Jeff and I created this series, and I'm gonna let Jeff speak on it as well, is we were really trying to figure out what it is that we wanted to do to make sure that we are being true to our community. I mean, I think people know us as, you know, doing really great events. They know us for being a support system around Black tech entrepreneurships, the Black tech ecosystem. I mean, just tech in general. And we really wanted to figure out a way to show up authentically, something that would be helpful, and something that entrepreneurs, no matter whether they're tech or not, could be a part of in some way while using our obvious relationships to kind of chime in on that. And so what we kind of talked through is like, you know, always thinking about being actionable. I think, you know, the core of what we've created from the beginning has always been about, you know, it's one thing to just talk about it. You know, it's one thing to just say, here are the things, you can try this. It's quite another to put people directly in connection with the things that will get them what they need. It's quite different to be really hands-on with people. It's quite different to give free unsolicited advice, which has been, you know, with the hat I've been wearing for the last 3 weeks. And so we wanted to, you know, one, you know, as people that we believe are experts, myself and Jeff, around this particular issue, while also bringing in entrepreneurs that can speak to their perspectives. And so born of that was Out the Mud, a nimble chat experience. Really, you know, in a way, like we are in the mud right now every single day. You know, you know, this pandemic is something that's affecting us all in multiple ways, whether it's, you know, with your job, whether it's with food, you know, health, like there's so many things at stake. And sometimes we get so deep down in the mud of the details, in the mud of like just being in a really uncomfortable situation that sometimes we can't find our ways out. And so we came up with nimble chat being our 2020 take on what a SWOT analysis is. Because, you know, in my opinion, SWOT is dead at this moment. We can't SWOT right now. But what we can do is we can chat. So Jeff, you want to talk about what chat means?
Yeah, it was basically, to your point, it was just like a spin, and we had to find a way to make the traditional SWOT analysis more nimble and tangible for our audience. What we're seeing across the board is everyone's giving advice, and you know, and it's great. But a lot of the feedback that we didn't receive from our previous events has really been centered on, okay, what's next? What are some actionable steps? So we found a way to basically just turn that into something that's a little more actionable. We call it chat. Number one, because we like to keep it casual. Want to give people an opportunity to really just connect with the audience and leave it open for everyone who's a part of what we're doing, and who joins the chat to feel like they're a part of it. But secondly, that chat is our acronym. So chat stands for C, conditions, H, hurdles, A for actions, and then T, takeaways or tips. So the goal is to organize the conversation in a way that allows people to follow from essentially a situation or talking about the issue, and then they leave the chat with that T, which is really centered on the tips and the takeaways. And then we just leave it open for the group to ask as many questions as possible, and we try to answer them. Where if not, direct them to the folks who can.
Yep. And, you know, what I think is special about that is we chose to take an industry approach to it. So our first chat we did on the events industry, which obviously was probably one of the first industries that was affected by this. I think the first thing we saw as a hint that this was going to be a serious shutdown was the number of major events that got canceled, you know, NCAA, South by Southwest, Coachella, right? And that effect that it has on people in those industries, marketing professionals, event space professional, event people, people that do sponsorship, so many things that, you know, people are now out of work or are now having to kind of sit and wait, or just lose a bunch of money that they had already invested, right? And so we had our first conversation around that. You can actually see the replay of that. We spoke with Chisa Torrance, who is a really, really, really well-known events person, owns a event space, Black-owned business, obviously, called the Silver Center. So if you want to go back and watch that, that's available on our website. And today, you know, what we kind of wanted to talk about, again, which is super timely, is one, technology, you know, which is definitely our bag. But two, you know, resources around COVID. And really, it's kind of exciting because we have someone that can talk about both right now. And so we were planning to do this last week, but I think the timeliness of this week is so much a little bit better, and we can jump into why in a little bit. But I want to welcome Taylor to introduce himself. We didn't introduce ourselves, but we can do that too if we need to. But cheers, Taylor. Welcome to the chat.
Was I supposed to have a drink?
I mean, I only have water, so usually I have something.
What up?
How are you? How is everybody?
Feeling good. As much as we can, like during these times. I was sharing a story about how we were very, you know, the world may have slowed down, but if you're in a recession-proof business, then you probably sped up right now. Oh, look at him.
He got big.
What's crazy is, and we'll jump into the business in a little bit, but we used to always say that. We've talked about it forever. Like, we are recession proof. This is exactly what our company is built for. So it was almost that like heartbeat moment when we saw everything that was happening. We missed the government shutdown, which we would have been very helpful for. And then the teacher lockout of Chicago, that was sort of when we launched the business. And so we got a taste of how we could help when financial crisis starts to happen for people. And then when this happened, we just relaunched the app. It was perfect timing. So we do consider ourselves a recession-proof business. And I think we're about to prove it here in the next couple months. So
man, that's like a duality then when we talk about conditions. I mean, you got COVID, right? But for you internally and with your business, it's also a pivotal time for you because, as you said, this is where it's like fight or flight. You know, this can help propel you into the next phase of scale within your business.
Oh, absolutely.
So Taylor, tell us about what Halo app is, why you built it. Like, we want to hear the story before we jump into the nuts and bolts.
Heck yeah.
What happened?
So first and foremost, you know, my background was in architecture. I went to Ball State University, so I'm not Indy born and raised, but I did come here. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I had no idea where Indianapolis was. I'm sorry.
It's the same city, just in Wisconsin versus Indiana.
I grew up in Ohio. I went to Wisconsin. I said, "Where is Indiana? Is that South?" That's literally what my parents. But went to Ball State. Went there for architecture. I graduated. I got into an architecture firm very early. It was my dream job, at least what I thought at the time. I grew within the company. I was actually in Italy, you know, blessed, sipping on some champagne, looking outside. And I was looking up a book on entrepreneurship, and I just fell in love with it. You know, like entrepreneurs are the ones creating change. And I think we can really start to see it. I mean, what you guys are doing in the city for people, for entrepreneurs, for the greater public, we can feel it. It's a pulse that happens when entrepreneurs are out there doing their thing. And I just wanted to be a part of it. And so it was easy for me to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. It was what type of business I think was what threw me. And a lot of people knew I was doing well. I kept getting that text message. Hey, how's everything going? I saw you on Instagram. You know, you start texting back and then you get that ... Let me ask you something. Yeah. You know what's coming. Can I borrow $200? And I was doing that to a bunch of my friends. And for somebody that was,
of course, man, is that guilt, like,
you know,
right there.
You have to almost. But you know, I was dibbling dabbling in the stock market. You know, I was a young professional. I was like, okay, well, now I'm trying to be grown. Let's figure out how I can invest. And I had no clue what the stock market was doing. I couldn't understand it. It seemed like it wasn't for me. It was over sophisticated. And here I was making better money, lending money to friends and getting paid back in 3 days. It was always, can I hold something? Let me borrow $100. I'll pay you back $120 on Friday. It was clockwork. And so after I saw that sort of happening in the back end, I tried to make an app. I just went for it. I said, well, this is cool. This makes so much sense. Our mission statement was, bro, let me hold something, back in 2015. I started it, you know, with my best friends in the entire world. And, you know, we went for it, and we fell on our face. But throughout that 2 years, the mission got so big. You know, first it was like fun. It was like, man, this is dope. And then it was like, well, this has to happen. You start to research, you start to hear about things like cash advance services, you get in more depth, you learn about alt financial services. You start to realize that some people are getting charged 300, 400, 500%. And there's such a wide... Yeah, and you start to realize that it's a lot of people that look like me. You start to get a little angry. And then the more you learn about banks and financial services, the more the mission has to happen. And so that's kind of what it was for me. So, I mean, after, you know, everything kind of settled, you know, I picked myself back up. I was still an entrepreneur. So after you're an entrepreneur, it never goes away. So, of course, I was delivering groceries. I landed some ship gig, you know, I did a bunch of other stuff. But as soon as I got back on my feet, it was the peer-to-peer lending. You know, I had to come back around as soon as I could again. I went for it. That was back in 2018. And it turned into this massive project that I really, really feel like is going to transform culture. You think about like how many people go to banks when they need stuff, how many people, we depend on it. And there was a point in time where banks didn't exist. And so it doesn't make sense to me. And Bill Gates even said, I know Bill's not in the best light right now, but although banking is necessary, banks are not. And it started to stick with me. You start to see some of your family members that don't even have bank accounts. And you wonder why you realize, you know, you rely so much on them and they take all these fees. We talk about it with our team. They charge us to keep our money in, and then they tell us to leave it in and use credit cards so they can charge us for credit cards. And that's just like a surface level thing, you know, but more and more stuff starts to happen. You know, they use our savings accounts, they use it for mortgage loans. They make all that money and they don't pay us anything for it. They give us a penny for every $10,000 we leave in there. And this just makes the perfect sense. You know, what we're trying to do is activate people's dollars. I'm really passionate about human capital, what we can do ourselves, how we can do it without help, how we can do it without banks. And that's what, you know, and that's where the Halo app grew. And the Halo app is a private peer lending community. So we're a private group of strangers that we make family that lend money to each other when they need it. Backers are able to make better returns than they've ever made. And then borrowers get access to safe cash whenever they need it.
Man, I have so many questions. I mean, clearly I know this, but one moment in that, I know we got this chat, but just as an aside, bro, let me hold some. Like, if you think about how that ended up translating into where you are today, it's crazy. And for everybody who's watching and you know, those who watch later, I think we have to, it's a moment to reiterate how you were living that experience and you turn that experience into a business that is at a pivotal time right now that's about to take off.
Yeah. There's one sentence that stuck out to me. I can't remember what book it is. I can never remember it, but they said build or solve a problem for yourself. I mean, that's usually the baseline for every entrepreneur story. What are you facing? What do you want to see? What's not existing in the city? I mean, to be completely honest, no disrespect to whoever's listening that may do something like it, but what you guys are doing, I had never seen before. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and that's what entrepreneurship is. And so for me, it was like I started as a backer, and then to get deeper into the journey, obviously I kind of touched on it. You know, we failed. I spent all my architecture money. I went in, you know, all in, and I was broke. Broke. You know, some people say they're broke. You know, I was $20,000 in credit card debt, $0 in my bank account with a house and $2,800 in bills every month. Broke. You know. I was doing weird stuff in the house, singing gospel songs. And now, you know, like at the
all right, Lawrence from Insecure.
I'm not gonna make it up. You're gonna have to toss me to the other side. Like, I was in some deep just.
Look, you found God during them times.
But I mean that's what it was. But it was a blessing for me because obviously I'm Black. I understand discrimination within financial services really well because
we're gonna get to it. I am in a hissy fit right now. I'm having a moment, but we'll get there.
You know, it's like a whole thing. I remember being a junior in high school, walking into Menards for an interview, and they said, "Nice to see you with your pants up." You know, that kind of stuff. We get that systematically, but I turned into the other side of our marketplace. And so whenever anybody asks me, even like, why are you the right person to run the business? Because like, I'm the entire culture of our platform.
Right.
Period.
I was the bro, let me hold something. I was the lender. I was the backer. I was also the person that, you know, my credit score dropped 200 points. Kind of like GPA in school. Just, okay, I messed up once. Are you just going to keep hitting me? You know, I had 18 bills on auto deposit and they all got taken out. And I got charged $1,200 in Chase overdraft fees over the course of 3 weeks. Like, a lot of people think I'm lying when I say that. I was on the phone tearing up like, y'all gonna do this to me? Like, I've been with Chase my whole life. $1,200 and they don't care. And it pulls you back to a time where, you know, like the 3 most important people in the community used to be the pastor, the barber, and the banker. They used to know you by name. They used to understand and empathize. They used to say, I know what you're going through. I'll help you. And now you're just a data point. You're just somebody that walks up to the teller. And for somebody to be holding our money, that should not happen. But it created this fire in me, which obviously, you know, brought us to today because it has to happen now because I have to bring everybody down. I have to win. You know, people need this. They're not going to do this to people. And it took for me to have a daughter. And that's how I started my pitch at pitch party. But I had my daughter and 6 weeks later, my lights were shut off. That was about a year into, you know, this slump I was in. And, you know, they said, hey, you need $800 or we can't turn your lights back on. And I'm just thinking, there's so many people, millions of people across the country that do not have access. You're just going to leave their lights off. The Halo app. For somebody to be able to go to an app and just be able to breathe for a second, you know, like, I have somebody that helps you. I was talking to somebody that says, like, change happens on a neighbor level. For everything. Change always happens on a people level.
Yep.
So, I mean, it just makes the perfect sense. If something's happening, you go to a platform where people have been there, where they understand, where they can empathize. We created it private. Everybody pays back. There's trust there. You know, people don't want to be left out. People don't want to disrespect the site. That's what we're building. It's slower. And you know, our investors sometimes don't like it. But that's the vision. We have to build it like that. It has to be grassroots. It has to be slow. It has to be, that's the way it has to grow, because the vision, the end vision is what we're going for.
No, that's real. That's real. One key takeaway that I have from that, and I don't even know if you said it, but your lived experience helped you create, essentially embed empathy at the foundation of your business.
Yeah. I mean, we've been there. We've been in the trenches. Like I've been there. And another turn, actually, about a month ago, the first time I actually used my app for real, not just in testing. I was at my office on Mass Ave. Josh and I, actually, he's on this call, walked outside and my car was gone and got impounded. At the height of just the hardest part. There's always this slope that happens in a business, right? And we were right there at the puddle, that bottom thing, end of February, walked outside, my car was gone, called. Moral of the story, I needed $800 again to get my car out. I have my
800. That number is especially your business.
The 800 is the secret number. I think that's your number.
800 million exit. That's all it means.
There we go. I'll take it.
That's all it means. But car was gone. Used the app immediately. All that stress went away. And so for the first time, all that stuff that I was preaching to users, I felt for myself, and I knew it was big because I had felt it. I got a family. Stressed for first time. My girl was on me first time. Like, hey, listen, I've been rocking now. This is the first time that's like, I said, I'll figure it out. But in the inside, my heart was pounding. Turned around, got a halo, everything, copacetic. I got to pay, I'm still paying it off, but it's easy. Clockwork, $60 every 2 weeks, whatever. But that's the flexibility that we want. That's what we want to give people. Backers are still making faster returns. I mean, people make yearly returns. So if somebody's paying me back over 4 months, still, it makes sense. It just makes sense.
That's crazy, man. It's beautiful. Kelly, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I wanted to sort of put us back into like late February, right? Post you getting your halo, right? And maybe a little bit more into March is probably a better thought. Like, where were you in the business, right as this was about to kind of take the slump that we're in currently right now? Where were you in the business? What were you thinking about? Like, what were you working on? And then what was it that triggered the response that you've had, which I would love for you to kind of go into sort of what Halo is doing now during the pandemic.
So just to like get deep, right? So there's like multiple phases of CEOs, and I had become really, really good at the first one, right? Vision, people get it. And then there's this second phase, which is survival. And every company really hits it because you're not making much money. I feel like everyone thinks entrepreneurs are just like,
I know.
Year one. It's the complete opposite. There's this joy of building, but we were testing, building. We had just gotten 3 months of data from our users. People had used it. We were taking all that feedback in. We were remodeling. We were rebuilding. We were trying to fix it. We were partners here. So, I mean, we were in deep build mode, deep reassess mode, after our beta period. Trying to prepare for our relaunch, which we didn't really know what that was going to look like or what that was going to be. Fast forward to COVID, which is the perfect launch pad for what we're doing. But that's kind of where we're at. We're trying to figure it out. Hadn't been paid, we hadn't been paid since July. So like, it's just, to be completely honest, that's stuff a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah.
But we hadn't touched a paycheck since July. So coming out of Christmas, staying positive. I'm generally probably the most positive human on earth, most optimistic person. But, that was the phase we were at. We're getting excited again because, we knew that something big was about to happen. We were meeting with investors. Investors loved it. They just said we were a little bit too early. Just like, give me 3 months of hard traction, which we're in month 2 now of that. So there's always this balance. There's like the actual life, which is hard as hell, just, very, very, very hard. And then there's this like, it's here. is here. I'm so excited. I'm very excited. And so there's a balance.
So when you decided to basically press fast forward to launch Halo, probably months before you were prepared to do so, what was it that you, I guess I'll say, you were nimble with in your approach, in your marketing, in order to make it something that ended up, and Jeff uses this word all the time, to become something that was compassionate to the users? Because we realize tons of people are getting laid off, people are having to lose their jobs, they're taking pay cuts, and this is essentially a halo for them. And so how fast did you have to move to get it online and get it ready? And then what made you decide to go with the 0% fee?
A week. Josh hit me up. He said, "Let's get it cracking." It was so fast. I remember I had gone home for my mom's birthday. It was just like we had missed so many opportunities. I mean, and for me, it had been years of Christmases. You see people that can't get one thing for Christmas, and you feel bad about it. A lot of people forget layaway used to exist massively. Like layaway doesn't really exist anymore. So a lot of people cry on the phone with us and say, "You're like layaway again." That's the kind of calls that we get. So I mean, for me, it was like we cannot miss this. People need this right now, and I think those are the best companies when you're driven by like users, when you're driven by people needing a product, it makes you work that much harder. So when we started to hear stuff, obviously we didn't foresee it to be this bad, and it wasn't really until like the NBA shut down, to be completely honest.
Right.
I mean, just to be honest, that that it set in like, oh, this is huge. This is huge. People started getting laid off. The racism and a lot of the discrepancies in our country started to pop out. The first message I saw was everyone stop taking public transit. What?
Yeah.
What? There's you start to see stuff like that, and you start to realize like, okay, well, it's some people that are about to get beat up by this, and we just had to get in people's hands. So I think that was the urgency for us.
And so tell me, just real quick, like what is the journey now, both from a backer perspective and a person that's looking to borrow? We have a question here that asks, what is the minimal investment for an investor?
$100. That's where we're very different. 60% of our backers are first-time investors. I think that's power because there's a psychology that comes with investing. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel powerful. It makes you feel grown. It makes you feel advanced. I mean, there's a lot of psychology. We can jump into that, but $100 you can back somebody that needs $100. Our loans are $100 to $1,000. First-time borrowers can borrow up to $500. After your successful repayment, you can borrow up to $1,000. So it's essentially like a credit limit backed by people. So at $100, you can scale through the platform. The way it works is same onboard for both backers and borrowers. We use all the technology that other apps use, Venmo, Cash App, everything is safe. It's very playful in the front end, but it's Fort Knox on the back is very serious, and we spend the money for it. So there's a lot of security on the front end. But a borrower is kind of like Cash App. You request how much you need. You say what it's for, say how long you need to repay from 2 to 24 weeks. And that request gets sent into this ecosystem of backers. For a backer, you have a dashboard. All the loans pop up as they come in real time. You select a loan, and there's a sliding bar. It says 0% all the way up to 35%. It takes about 10 seconds. You can back somebody or get access to money.
Dope. Jeff, you have any questions? I feel like I'm about to go bird's eye view real quick. I didn't know if you wanted to dig in to anything else right now.
I think he answered it for now. There'll be more questions at the end, really centered on how the best ways that he needs resources are helping.
Yeah. So I do want to take a bird's eye view because what I want to do is kind of talk about the journey of all tech entrepreneurs that I imagine right now, right? Like most of the entrepreneurs that we directly work with, obviously are tech companies. And some of them were in the middle of raises. Some of them were, going through all sorts of things. And so in your opinion, I mean, the way that you've been able to sort of, one, move really fast to, take plans that were probably 3 to 4 months out and make them happen in 3 to 4 days is really huge and something you had to take a big risk on. Two, the fact that you, chose to use the compassion culture. I just love the compassion thing, Jeff. So I'm gonna keep using it. But the way that you chose, using compassion in order to pivot your model, definitely helped get more eyes on you. I'm sure it definitely helped get partners in line. I think it's probably helped, get people on board. But when we're talking to tech companies that maybe won't be able to pivot that way. I mean, I think a lot of them could, or if they are in the middle of the raise and they don't have, funding right now and they can't really raise because all the VCs are like, we're just focused on our portfolio right now. So any deals that were in the pipeline are either delayed or if they were already kind of in term sheet mode, getting signed over. What are some things just from your experience as a tech entrepreneur, and, Jeff and I, we can chime in with some stuff too, that you think other entrepreneurs like yourself could be thinking about when it comes to their business?
Investing, kind of the opposite, right? We're looking for investments, but also don't be afraid to invest in yourself and your business. For us, we deployed for the city of Indianapolis or Indiana as a state, $1 million. We committed $1 million in loans to our platform at zero interest. That's almost $100,000 in lost revenue for us, but it's not. Like the amount of people that know about our platform right now, that are committed to our platform, that have brand loyalty to us right now, is priceless. And what I think of it as an investment to get to another stage of your company, kind of like what you said, Jeff. When the smoke clears from COVID, we're going to be a completely different company, whether we have cash on hand or not.
Right.
We're going to be, way different. We're going to be far more advanced. We're going to be far more prepared. We're going to get different term sheets. We've already gotten, so, we're going to get a different kind of term sheet. There are going to be some different numbers on there, just based off of helping people during this time. And that's what I think that's what we miss a lot as entrepreneurs too, like being afraid to invest, being afraid to give things for free. A quote I'm always passionate about is nobody ever went broke from giving. You got to believe in that. You got to really, really, really believe in that. And if you don't believe in that from a high level, from a plain view, believe in it tangibly. These are customer acquisition costs. Customer acquisition costs for us is went down dramatically. Because people need the service, and whether we're making the money we made on the loan, we're saving more on easy marketing, getting in people's hands. And as long as your product is good, as long as your app or whatever you're building is good, you should be able to retain all of those customers.
Now that's actually a good point, man. I was just thinking about that because are you currently tracking the overall, like the turn or the addition of the new customers that you're receiving, and how are you doing that? Because I would imagine right now is a time that is certainly an uptick that you can then go back, because that's probably what makes you feel comfortable to invest from a perspective of not, zero interest right now.
Yeah. Everything, information, calls, emails, whoever wants to see it. People just want more information, people that have contacted us, people that have referred people. A part of that acceleration into our relaunch was building stuff that we had never had before, like CRMs, customer management tools. That was just stuff we played with. We had Excel sheets, but we were like, okay, well, we just got 300 people that just hit us up like, well, I need help. Like, okay, well, if we're going to do 1,000 people in a week or 1,000 people in a month, let's get serious about it. It makes your life easier. Right now, anywhere you click on any one of our platforms, it can get aggregated into a CRM really easy. It helps us with communication. It helps us talk to our users. It helps us, that's all the stuff that's combined in entrepreneurship that a lot of people don't realize. Like I work for a company that I use all their tools. Now I work for my own company. We have to build our own tools.
Right.
But we had to build everything. But yeah, that makes it worth it. We seeing our brand grow, hearing the calls. We worked in sales before.
Right.
Hear people cry on the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for real. At first, I think we're a startup, so it's really hard to get trust with people, just because just as much as we're marketing the criminal financial services are marketing the same message, get access to cash now, except their service is going to displace generations and ours is going to actually help but it's hard to discern the difference between the two. And so you get that kind of weariness on the phone, but as soon as they believe it, it's straight emotion. I can get access. So you telling me and you're not going, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do people back you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're still working. Maybe they can work from home. Maybe, they have a work from home option. Maybe they just want to help people out, or maybe they want to make a little extra money, But that's power to me.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely speaks to, so you're solving two problems. So you have the COVID problem innately in short term, but innately, like, you're helping reestablish, or really honestly build trust with banking and loan systems for the underserved communities. What you're talking about is consumers. We're so used to being either turned down, denied, or being used, and then you have this solution that's coming out of nowhere and saying, well, now we got this, we got that, we took care of that. Goes back to that whole compassion and empathy. But even then, that's still a hurdle for you, right? Because the hurdle is reestablishing and ensuring that they know that you're not essentially taking advantage of them like other banking systems, specifically in a time like right now. So what are some of the things that you're doing to overcome those hurdles?
Like we call them umbrellas. We can get into networks where you guys have a lot of trust. So being on this, getting validation from platforms like yours helps us build trust. Putting out some press. We have some press that's about to come out pretty heavy this week, or late this week and early next week. Partnerships, for us, it's like stronger together. Let's all, every resource that we can give people access to, let's do it. We're a resource, you're a resource. Again, being genuine in our approach. We're not making any money right now. Yes, we're getting your name. Yes, we're getting some brand loyalty. We're not making money because it's bigger than this right now. It's about making impact in people's lives and saving people from, I don't know if anybody's ever used any one of those services, but it's awful. It's awful.
Paydays and stuff.
Awful. I mean, Reddit. We've gone so deep into it. We've been on subreddits where people are lending money, and it's just a bunch of people that are looking to take advantage of other people. Look, I'll give you $200, pay me back $850, and I'm just sitting on the comments like, that seems high. Not but people panic, and that's why we always say in our approach is like, man, we're a psychological company first, because okay, we can change your mind before we can change your wallet. If we can just tell you to relax, if we can just let people breathe, we can just say hey, everybody breathe for a second. Because even when stuff started going down with this business back in 2016, I panicked and made awful financial decisions out of pure panic. And nobody said hey, relax. It's going to be okay. It's going to be, just breathe for a second. And that's what we want to push out to the city first. That's really why, the positivity bomb is all about that. Hey, everybody relax for a second. You got help coming. There are sites available where you can get resources. But, for me, it's I feel like I'm the defender right now. If there's probably think about this, there's probably $50 million in cash advance loans that are out right now in Indianapolis. And it's 50 million probably in loans right now because of the coronavirus, and
they'll probably get 200 million back.
100 million back from people, and people are going to pay that over the next 4 or 5 years. So coronavirus is not going to stop for about, 100,000, 80 to 100,000 Indianapolis residents.
That's a shame. They're still going to feel it.
Yeah.
But we're coming. We're going to snatch everybody up. That's the plan.
I think, the advantage that I think tech entrepreneurs specifically have is, I think very evident in the steps that you guys took, right? The ability to move fast, act fast, make something happen as quickly as possible so that you can, get ready for the next step. But, for a lot of brick and mortar businesses, a lot of service-based businesses that, their entire business model relies on a person-to-person interaction or them walking into a place or anything like that, aren't able to move as quickly. I mean, some of them are, some of them aren't. We're definitely going to talk about one on Thursday that I'm excited about. But I'm curious, like, what is, and this is, I would like to answer this question, but Jeff, I'd like you to answer this question too. You know, what is something that, you know, service-based businesses, brick and mortar businesses should be thinking about right now? Like, what could they be doing? You know, what can we do to help them? Like, I just really want to, it's been racking my brain because a lot more of my conversations these days have, yes, been a lot of tech companies, but there's been a lot of not tech companies that are just trying to figure something out. And I'm seeing some good stuff happening, and I'm seeing some, like, I don't know, stuff happening. So I'd love to know what you guys is, and also people in the chat, if you guys have any thoughts around that too, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are around, you know, how can we help them become tech enabled if they're not tech enabled already?
I think Taylor's doing a good thing right now. I think what Taylor's done, like, how often are financial service type businesses out front showing their faces? This is a perfect time for folks to get in front and establish trust, whether it's their personal brand or their business brand. And where I'm seeing that be successful, whether that's socially, whether that's people who are doing events and they're migrating and, you know, doing all these live chats, similar to what we're doing right here, I think that's an opportunity for them to do that in this downtime. If you can't be physically present, to find a way to be virtually present and focus on that compassion. I think right now is really a time of compassion. I keep going back to that word. And anyone who's in the business right now, even if it's still an opportunity for you to make money, similar to what Taylor is saying, like, my business is recession proof. It's also perfect during the recession time, but I'm not focused on making money right now. I'm focused on establishing trust and building up my audience. And I think that's one of the key things that business should be doing right now.
Yeah. And for me, I have a strong, like, sweet spot for Black business, especially. We needed this almost. I mean, that's a weird positive to say, but, like, we're disproportionately brick and mortar. We're disproportionately
1,000%.
physical businesses, which one is the reason why we're so affected and shut down by this, because, like, man, what am I going to do now that the salon is closed? What am I going to do now that nobody can come to my restaurant? What am I going to do now that even in marketing companies, like, a lot of it, we haven't transformed into this tech economy, and you're starting to see more people do deliveries. You're starting to see more people with drive-thrus. You're starting to see more people do Zoom calls and e-commerce solutions. And I think that's going to make us stronger coming out of COVID, to be completely honest. And you talk about being nimble. That's a training that we all need as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as companies, as people. Maybe you don't feel like you're recession proof, but maybe you feel like you can make it, at least, because you're nimble, or because you have a nimble mindset, because you can say, okay, well, this is shut down, and maybe they say nobody can come here, but look, this is what we can do. We can deliver school lunches to people that, you know, had state lunches, and now, you know, this is what we can do. We can drop them off at the porch, because now I have that name. I got that bag, it's sitting on my countertop, and now I'm like, what was that company that delivered?
1,000%.
Oh yeah, let's go try them out. And that's kind of the nimble approach that we as a community need to have. So to be completely honest, I think we're going to come out stronger. That's my optimism, but
yeah.
I got something to add to that, because I was with you. Because, like, you know what's crazy? I was thinking of, like, why do we under-index? Why are we over-index with respect to our uses of social media and technology, but we over-index our businesses brick and mortar? And I think that's a lot because of just what we know, right? So this is forcing us essentially to transition and be more flexible with how we deliver our offerings, and we've just been stubborn with that. But the key thing is, with that, this is an opportunity where if you're a Black-owned business and you have Black-owned customers particularly, we're always talking about how they're so hard on us, right? Now is the best time to be listening to your customers.
Absolutely.
If you're listening, if you're being compassionate, they're going to tell you what they need. They're going to tell you exactly what they need. And our customers, the consumers, right now, they have all these issues. They're laying them out about what they need in every industry, whether it's food. Man, I'm tired of cooking. Boom. I know I don't have my whatchamacallit, but look.
2 weeks ago, listen. Look. Oh, my God.
Right.
This is crazy.
I'm tired of cooking. I'm tired of cooking, right? So, but I'm also tired of ordering in. I gotta learn how to cook. Boom, here comes the chef series. Oh, we're gonna walk you through how to cook these bomb ass meals, right? Like that's really what it is. So now you walk
Netflix and meals.
exactly. Now you walk out of COVID, you've established trust with your audience. You've built new customers because now they have a face they can match with your brand. And so now you have an educational component. You can pivot and do some more education with respect to cooking. You then now have a digital offering, and maybe you've invested in some digital stuff where you can do some more delivery. I mean, this is the time. They're telling us what they need.
Absolutely. If I was like, I can't remember which restaurant it is. I think it's with the Outback. I don't know how much it costs to send out 100,000 onions, but I would a blooming onion recipe with a swipe up, and with $25,000 for 100,000 onions, and everybody in the city. Let's see, how did it turn out? Because it's a clean slate. Everybody has customers anymore. So for me, it's like, and where I felt intimidated by these large businesses, I don't any longer because everyone's a clean slate. Everyone's available.
The playing field is level, supposedly. A few weeks ago, I always refer back to this because I still can't believe the timeliness of this shit, right? Sorry, we cuss on here. But, right before, it was right as, I don't remember it was maybe the week before everything just really went kind of left. I have no nails anymore, by the way, guys. And I wrote a piece for TechPoint basically saying how we need to rely on Black entrepreneurs to get us through the situation. And the narrative really being, I think people need to look at businesses differently, both the tech community and VCs and everyone else. I think the narrative of Black tech businesses don't exist or Black tech founders don't exist is not true. Obviously, we've made that very true. We've put these people, in a light, but they don't necessarily fit the mold of what's needed right now, right? They're looking at B2B SaaS businesses, they're looking at marketing tech, and the majority of the business that we work with are none of those. Most of them are consumer-facing businesses first. But then you have something like COVID happen, and everything has to be consumer-facing because everyone's worried about what we can do for them, right? The other part of that, though, and to the point that I think both of you have made, when we're talking about brick and mortar businesses, when we're talking about service-based businesses, there's obvious opportunities for them to shift their parallel. And they have to do it because you have no other choice, right? You can't go into the salon right now. You can't go to the nail shop right now. You can't go into the restaurant right now. So you're almost being forced to move yourself out because you're stuck, right? And by DNA, I think Black people in general have always created things out of need, right? Okay, I can't do hair right now. What am I gonna do? My beautician, when I was supposed to have a hair appointment, I always tell this story, but I was supposed to have a hair appointment on April 7th when the first thing was supposed to lift. It was set, I was ready. And literally the 2 days before, it's shutdown's going until April 20th. And I'm pretty sure we're going to hear by the end of the week, shutdown's going until May, right? Mid-May, because I don't think, this is not happening anytime soon. And I'm like, all right, so this announcement just happened. I can't get my hair done. So, you need to come up with a kit. And then you need to just sell it, and then I'll buy it. And I can just, buy the products, and then you can walk me through what I'm supposed to do. And I know how to do my hair, but I have a different situation happening right now. So I needed her. And that was a Thursday. She had them on sale Sunday, and they've been selling like hotcakes for 4 days. Every day she's shipping out more packages, shipping out more kits, and she's selling them for $80 and $100 a pop. And all her clients are buying them because they don't know what to do with their hair right now. She's selling wigs. She's selling all sorts of stuff. She just came up with a digital offering, right? She offers it on her website. You can buy it through her e-commerce website. She ships it out, and it's in your hands, and you can do what you got to do for the next, few weeks, right? Yeah. Not all entrepreneurs would listen to that from us, right? We couldn't always go to people that are ready for that. But because people are looking to try anything, because you have to try anything right now, they're willing to do it. You know what I mean? Did she have to post it a few times? I'm sure. But when I started seeing 6 packages go out one day, 3 more going, I said, oh, no, she's making money right now. She's doing the same numbers and clients, and she's doing way less work. Also, she now has a new opportunity to sell something else even when the salon opens back up. You know what I mean? Like if she has clients that don't get on her books because she's always booked, they know exactly what to do because they have all the products to do it and she's walking through it already, right? That's a whole other revenue stream that she's created. And she hasn't even really tried. Imagine when she tries, right? And so, you know, my note, and I think this is what are we in A and T right now? Actions and takeaways is one, if you have a business and you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do, hit my line, hit Jeff's line, hit Taylor's line. I mean, I'm sure he'd be more than willing to give you some thoughts, but we helping people make money out here. And I mean, even if you're not making that much money, at least like supplying a place where you may have lost revenue, right? And two, you know, don't be afraid to try anything right now. I think to Jeff's point, and this is something we talked about in our conversation with Chisa, you know, this is an opportunity for you to work on your business. It's an opportunity for you to be working on, you know, like some of the stuff that you said you wanted to try that you haven't tried yet, the opportunity to test out things on social, the opportunities to come up with ideas and see how they hit, the opportunity to just talk to your customers and just see what they want and what they need, see where there's holes that are to be filled, or when those conversations happen when it's like, because I'm tired of cooking and I love to cook, you know, and I thought about 2 days in a row I wanted to do takeout, but I'm like, I don't feel like going to even be in front of, like, I don't want to touch anybody, you know what I mean? I don't want anybody touching my food. I don't want to touch anybody, you know, and I think something that you're going to see in a couple of weeks, specifically with a business that Jeff and I work really closely with, two businesses actually that they're like coming together and doing something together, is a kit where you can get your wine and your meal and you can make it with your friends. You know what I mean? It's probably something that HelloFresh and every other, you know, food box services should have been doing for a while, but you know, you have two entrepreneurs that are just hungry and miss in-person interaction, are able to recreate that in a virtual way. So, you know, the purpose of these chats, like I said, I mean, we are coming to the 8 o'clock mark, which means we have, you know, 20, 30 minutes to take questions and all that stuff, or just shoot the shit. But the things that I always want people to take from these conversations, and I hope you guys join us, you know, every time, because we'll be talking about different industries each time, is this is the opportunity to start being innovative. This is the opportunity to do what it is that we naturally do as Black people. This is ingrained in us, you know, even us, you know, for Be Nimble, like, you know, we thought about like, how do we want to still, you know, apply what we're doing every day and, you know, still hit our people. You know, we're trying to, you know, we're raising a fund right now. We're doing an accelerator. You know, a lot of that stuff is on hold, but there's still stuff that we can do right now. So I think, you know, that's what this is all about, and hearing that. And two, you know, I think just everyone that's in this chat, like, feel inspired, you know, feel optimistic. I think we're all, you know, we go through the mud of the day and, you know, have our ups and downs, but like, these conversations really do energize me. You know, I've been, you know, to be transparent on this call, I've been super like stressed around like these loan programs. And I'd love to talk about this if anybody wants to. If anybody has questions about this stuff, like, feel free to drop them in the chat too. But they're like, people that look like us are not getting them. It's just not happening. I mean, if anybody is waiting on it, like, you just gonna be waiting. So we have to figure out what other alternatives are. You know, PPP and EIDL is just not, it's not for us. So we have to figure out ways that we can close our own gaps. So I want to have a larger conversation about that at some point. No problem. But you got something to say?
Yeah, Taylor, does your app actually offer, is there a specific service for business lending, or is it still the same process? Like, how would that go about?
As long as it's one person, as long as it's $100 to $1,000, we actually we get a lot. I mean, when you think business loans, you always think like larger loans sometimes.
Exactly.
We get a lot of businesses that come to the platform just because, like, I mean, even before this, man, I need a new lens for my camera. For me, I want to win the job for Party Girls, and like, I don't have the right camera for the dark. Like, right. You know, me being able to snap 100 shots is going to change my entire situation. So, I mean, we get a lot of that. And then even now, you know, we get a lot of businesses that come to the platform. But, I mean, as long as it's under the $1,000, we have some strict regulations on it being a single person backing a single person. But, yeah, we can.
Right. No. And I think we had one other question in the chat right now. So walk us back through, from an investor perspective, how do they lend? How does the transaction work? Is that through like any other apps like a Cash App, or do they set up a card? How does that work?
I think Venmo uses it now, but everything's internal. You log into your bank account. In order to do either transaction, you have to connect a bank account. As soon as your bank account's connected, I mean, the money is transacted. ACH, it's on the back end. We don't do cards just yet, which will make it an instant transaction, which for people, if you know the vision, that's like, get money and get it in 3 seconds. That's what makes my heart jump a little bit. But I mean, it takes a day. But yeah, you log into your bank account and then the money moves via a payment processor.
Sorry. That was not a COVID sneeze. I don't know if sneezes come with COVID, but it wasn't that. I'm dealing with allergies, people.
It's all good.
And I was gonna say too, like to your point, Kelly, maybe this will find, like, we need to stop depending on people that don't care about us.
Yeah.
You talk about we're not gonna get these loans. They would, like
Let me.
go ahead, yeah. That was just something that was on my heart. Like, maybe this will finally, like, we need to stop depending on people that don't care about us and then being disappointed. That's for us in business loans. That's for us in relationships. I mean, that's everything.
Right. You said it, like, Black people have been saving this country one step at a time. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and get on this little rant, and you said it. Like, maybe it's time for us to depend on ourselves a little bit too.
Period.
And what I mean by that is, if you look on social media, like, I'm gonna say it. Tory Lanez has literally changed the way you release music.
Yep.
The DJs, the virtual DJs, like, because of this, they're now changing what we thought in Instagram Live and Facebook Live even looked like. Now you got people like Teddy Riley and Instagram, everybody trying to figure out how they can get their hand in the music industry, just because for one moment right now, we know for a fact, first time ever, you can tangibly track and release music and track how many people are tuned in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know where else you can see that. So who's behind that? It's not Daft Punk. It ain't Aoki. It's D-Nice. It's Swiss Beats. It's Timbaland. It's Tory Lanez. And I think even now, how long has Black people been selling plates?
Been selling plates.
Been selling plates.
Been
That's the
selling
only way you
plates.
can get takeout. Now that's the only way you can get takeout, right? So then you have all these businesses that are having to adjust to that, a mode that we already had. So I think now more than ever, to your point, where we have Black-owned businesses that are actually in the space of need, this is our opportunity to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Across the whole city.
And not only an opportunity to talk to them too, but an opportunity to get them where they need to be in order to be super effective, right? Because one thing about the plate selling industry is, I'm still not willing to necessarily buy a plate from someone's kitchen I don't know. I just, if I don't know your kitchen, it looks good, but I may not be willing to buy that, right? So, what can we do to make sure that you have a space? That's like my next business proposition is about to happen. Where is it? What do we have to do to make sure you have a space where you can make your plates and sell your plates and get your plates delivered so that you ain't got to do as much work? You know what I mean? Like, there's even opportunities in those things too. But I think back to the point of, like, systems that aren't built for us. I mean, I don't know if anyone's read this article. It has been on my back all day. But I'm gonna tell a little story if anybody's willing to hear it, if we don't have any other questions for now. But I'm sure everyone in this chat, if you're here, you've been keeping up with what's going on right now. We have this SBA loan process that's currently going on. There are 2 SBA loans that you can get. There is an EIDL loan that is specifically for emergency disaster relief. And there's one that's called the Paycheck Protection Program that is specifically those are forgivable loans that people can apply for and get it to cover their payroll, cover their bills, just any overhead to just make sure that they're taken care of, right? So when the first round of applications went out for PPP 2 weeks ago, I think it was April 3rd, you have to apply directly through your bank, basically the place where you have an account. That's the first rule. It's like you go straight to the bank that you already have an account in. Exactly. Not just, I mean, you should probably have a business bank account if you're a reputable business. I just believe that. But for those that don't, automatically you can't apply, or you have to wait until they open it up to the public, right? So that's thing one. So say you have an account and you apply through your bank. There's a class action lawsuit that just was filed right after this was released, because Bank of America customers who have their business accounts at Bank of America applied for the PPP program and were all denied because they had credit cards at other companies. So if you were a Black-owned business and you had a bank account at Bank of America as your business account, but you had a Capital One credit card, they told you had to go to Capital One despite you being bankable. And the reason why is because they gave first preference to people that already had a lending relationship with them. Lending relationship means loans. How many Black businesses do you know have loans from their banks right now? I mean, just, do you know it? I mean, there's probably some. I'm not going to sit here and say there's not, but the banks can essentially take this federally, taken dollars and put whatever rules around it that they want to, right? And so that automatically, we've now displaced Black people a second time. Like, even if they do apply and they have a bank account there and they have a reputable business that, the account's in the positive, they got shit going on, they still can't get a loan because they don't have a lending relationship with the bank. That was part two. The third part of PPP, and this also doesn't apply to everyone, is that you have to have payroll. So if you are a business and you only hire contractors, or if you're a business and yourself is just you, or, whatever that may look like, if you don't run a payroll, you don't get to apply because technically you don't have payroll records. So for all the businesses that are startups that I know that are 2-people machines that are just trying to get money based off how much they made that month, they split whatever the profit is so that they can live or pay their bills, can't get these loans, right? So now you have 3 different levels of issues with people of color, anybody really that's trying to get access to this information. And it's being told to us that it's open for everyone, it's free for everyone, everyone has access, when you don't.
You gotta do it.
You've excluded Black people from the beginning. Just so you know, they did a class action lawsuit against Bank of America, and the federal court found for the bank. They appealed, and so we don't know what's going to happen, but Bank of America can keep doing what they're doing. And so that's, to echo what Taylor said, we have to figure out what the hell we're going to do for ourselves, because obviously the things that have been put into place are going to go to people that get it first. Here's something else I learned too. I learned from a friend that does have an SBA loan. She told me that her bank called her and asked her if she wanted the PPP. And she said, no, I don't need it. But banks are calling their existing clients and customers and offering them these loans before they're even offering it to people. And they did this before they even announced it. Called her.
What bank does she have?
She's with Chase. No, Old National, sorry. She was with Old National. So just FYI, to everyone, I am not saying don't apply for these things. If you can get in there and you can make it to the end, make it happen. But even if you make it all the way to the end and you have everything right and you have everything ready, just be prepared for long waits. And so whatever it is that we have going on, there's still stuff that we need to do as a community, as soon as possible, to make sure that we're filling these gaps. Because even if you do apply and you get all the way to the end, it's still going to take you 6 weeks to get money, or 4 weeks, or however long it's going to take. So we really have to figure out, as a community, as an Indianapolis community, as a Black tech ecosystem, what real relief can we help put in place to make sure that businesses that are owned by people of color have the opportunity to thrive. Because as it stands now, if you had a great idea, if you had a little bit of traction, if you had something that was popping, and you're now completely shut down because you can't do it, you getting relief is, gonna be a very long time. So, our goal is twofold, right? One is, let's figure out if we can find a new revenue model for you guys. If you have something, is there an opportunity to create something new? So when we do get out of this, maybe you have something else you can do, whether you have a brick or mortar or service-based business. Or 2, is there a nimble grant? I just said it out loud, won't go any further than that we can give you to help cover these expenses. And so, just, keep an eye out. Check out benimbleco.com. We update it almost daily with new opportunities on the grant side. Apply for as many of those as you can, because it never hurts to apply. But we just have to figure out something that's going to touch people quicker and faster. I'm sitting on that. It's killing me. It's killing me.
Hey, Taylor,
and I just went off, so I'm done. I don't go off often, but I can go off.
So here's a comment that we had. Doing a great job utilizing this time to build your business presence and brand. Virginia Richardson said that she would like to do a complimentary digital analysis for you. So Taylor, make sure that you reach out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Make the connection. That's all this is
about. Connections. I'll connect you guys, Taylor. I have Virginia's contact information.
Okay, I was typing. I appreciate it.
Oh no, type it too. That's fine, because I forget.
I was just thinking, like, Taylor, you got a great presence on social media as well too. I think this is be a good opportunity for you to drop. The Halo app already has frequently asked questions, and I think you have a compassionate voice. That's why you did so well in the pitch competition, right? You're able to connect. This is certainly an opportunity for you to just rattle off some in-person or face-to-face digital, frequently asked questions to continue building that not only the brand, but then also building that trust with the consumers. And shout out to Josh too. Got to get Josh on there as well.
I love Josh. Josh, I'm gonna have to put you on camera.
Right.
I can't do nothing though. My panic, I can't. As a host, I can't do anything anymore. Right. Josh, we might need you in this combo too.
Yeah, Josh, come on, man, get out front. Let people know they can trust y'all. Y'all got this.
Turn on his camera.
Let's see. Let me see if I can.
Because I can't do it. I don't know what I did when I gave you guys all the access, but I ain't got access no more. I can't do nothing.
Josh brings the energy every single. See if he does one of our culture pieces. If you let him on the camera, I'm not gonna put him on the spot, but let me see if he does it. When somebody connects, or when somebody calls or brings you into a conversation.
Yeah, let's see if we can. I don't think we can, man. I wish we could. Let me go to the attendees though. All right.
If you go to the attendees and you just click his name, you should be able to hit talking permitted.
There we go. We got him.
Hey, Josh.
What's happening?
Can we I wish we could put you on camera.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
If you had me on camera, you see my hair flowing in the wind. I'm out there blowing my hair out, brushing it out.
We can't. Apparently, we can't give you the video, but we can hear you though.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. It's been fun to watch. Laughable, absolutely, but also a lot of great facts and information that a lot of people overlook. I think Taylor was talking about possibly a positivity sandwich. That's one thing that we do here internally. A lot of people ask, what separates the Halo app? What makes it so great? We accept you with love. We accept you with kindness. We give you a big hug, but then we also drop, a dose of reality in between something else that's going to make you smile. It's what we call a positivity sandwich, right? So we start with something good, drop you with a dose of reality, and then pick you back up and hold your hand throughout the entire process. And that's what the Halo app's about.
I was talking about the flow, Josh Epilos.
The flow. So we open up every call with the flow. So instead of saying hello, you immediately just got to start rapping.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
It's the culture piece that we have.
Is it a freestyle, or do we just get to say whatever bars we want?
Quick, just a quick freestyle, whatever you're feeling that day, right? We have an investor meeting. We're going to get the seasoning because we're going to bring the meaning, right? You just got to deal with it. Just give it everything you got. For a minute and a half, 2 minutes, it really starts the call off with some laugh and some love. But,
it doesn't matter how early. It could be 4 o'clock. You get in your album.
I love it.
And I need that shirt, man. Who's the plug on the Positivity Bomb shirts?
For real.
Awesome.
I don't even know how we don't have one yet.
We'll get him. Josh is the plug, man. We'll get him to you. We can get We can get them to
It's no
everybody on the
rush.
call. We can get them to everybody on the call. And
Drop your sizes.
everybody.
We'll make it work.
Email me in my email, and we'll get a shirt to you.
Love it. All right, we gotta post that for sure. Hey, nah, man, spread word. Hey, that's brand awareness too. Look, we comping some shirts. Look, I'll sponsor some shirts. Let me know. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Let's go.
Let's get it out.
I haven't checked. Well, I mean, we kind of reached the end, but if we have like 13 minutes. So does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to pick our brains? I don't know. I mean, you don't get too many options or opportunities to pick my brain. So if anyone wants to ask questions or has any insight, anything.
I would say too, like, for everyone out there, the conveyor belt is officially broken. Like, there's no more. The normal is, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be a new normal that's happening, and like you said, we're really good at that, and I want people to be proud of that. There's something new that's about to happen. We just saw Trolls just broke some kind of record when they dropped last weekend. Movie theaters might not come back. You know, regular restaurants might not come back. Regular shops might not come back. I mean, things are changing, and because things are changing, like, we should use this opportunity to be on the forefront of change, which we always have. So I think this is a powerful time. I want everyone to just imagine that this won't stop until August. Forget trying to worry about May, June, July. Like, what if this doesn't stop until September? How are we going to utilize this time to change our lives, to utilize this time to make extra money, to be creative? I mean, that's the kind of mindset that I want us to be in right now. So welcome to new normal. Forget what's old. Get off this conveyor belt. It's broken. Do something different. Let's be creative and fun with it. Let's support each other and see what happens.
Absolutely. And I would be remiss to say that, this is definitely a critical time for everyone. And mental, physical, spiritual health is definitely key. And a lot of our talks, it kind of gets lost in that sometimes, but I want to be clear that the way in which we've positioned this conversation is really just focused on the entrepreneurship journey with respect to the action. But we are very conscious and aware of how this is a sensitive time. And on our website, we'll continue to update resources that can support in various ways. But to Taylor's point, though, this is still a pivotal time where when we have that opportunity to really capitalize on what that new normal may look like, and we're in a place where we can actually envision that and create that for the future. So, yeah, it's a balancing act, and we want to make sure that everybody is healthy all the way around. But specifically, this talk is about the entrepreneurship side.
Absolutely. Give yourself some grace. If we don't have any questions, I'm going to do some wrap up. Taylor has already dropped his email. I mean, you can follow him everywhere at the Halo. I know on Instagram at the Halo Taylor. Also follow the Halo app official. Definitely check out the Halo app if you're interested in borrowing, if you're interested in backing, please check out this platform and what he's doing. He and Josh and their entire team are just doing amazing and incredible things. As Jeff mentioned, if you are looking for resources for your business, if you are looking for information, if you just want to, throw some ideas out there, check out BeNimbleCo.com. You'll also see an update on the events we have coming up, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about in addition to the resources that we both mentioned. There's tons of grants on there. I updated yesterday with the details on the Shea Moisture grants. I mean, one of them, the deadline was the 13th. So you missed that one, but there's still one that's open until the 15th. So I encourage you all to apply for that because that is specifically for minority businesses. And so please take advantage of those. I think they just went to press with them today. And so I was lucky enough to get those links a little early, which was very helpful. shout out to my homegirl Holland. And the last thing is on Thursday, we are back. If you are a food person, if you are a restaurant, if you are a plate maker, if you are a, wine lady, I know Amber's in here. Anything that's around food and beverage, if you're thinking about how you can pivot kind of in this to go only, takeout only, delivery only system, if you're thinking about ways to touch your audience, if you're a chef, we are going to be doing this exact same type of chat with Chef Oya from the Trap Seafood on Thursday, who's doing incredible things and has some incredible things I think she would be able to share with us. So please feel free to join us again. You can find that information on benimbleco.com. This is recorded. Hopefully Taylor's okay with that. We will put this up on YouTube and you guys will be able to rewatch this. And you'll be able to also find that on benimbleco.com. So thank you everyone that joined us. It's exciting to see all the people that are here. It's a little bit more than it was last time, and that's exciting despite how many people RSVP. But hopefully these things continue to just go up. We're just here to provide love and positivity bombs and all the information that we possibly can. So shout out to Mia. She said she's about to be a backer after this call. I love it.
Hey, we got some backers in the building.
I love it.
I love it. Well, thank y'all.
This is awesome. I love these. It makes me happy.
Michelle, we still got some questions, brother. Oh, okay.
Oh, do we?
Absolutely. Okay. I think we're good. I think we out. So yeah, follow.
All right, guys.
Keep them questions going. We out.
Holla. Thank you again, Taylor.
Dog. Holla, Josh.